Welcome to the Code with Jason meetup. Today we will continue working on SaturnCI, my CI platform that I've been working on. I will share my screen. Here we go. And first I will just share a little bit of Saturn for anybody who hasn't seen it before. And even anybody who has seen it before, there's a little bit of stuff that's new. So on the left here are all of my builds. I'm quite proud of my very green history, which is all green because I've deleted anything that wasn't green. um, but this is where you can click and see your various builds. And unlike GitHub Actions and SaturnCI, where you have to kind of dig to get to your test results, this is designed more like an email client where you see your test results. You have your list on the right and the interesting information on, sorry, list on the left, interesting information on the right. And then also on the right, I figure we might be interested in a few different kinds of things. We have our test output. So the same thing you'd see when you run your tests in the terminal. We have that in one tab. And then we see kind of an overview, a test report, so you can see at a glance what failed if something failed. And I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to make something fail on purpose. Okay, expects build.status to equal blah. That will certainly fail. I'm just going to run this and yep, okay. Okay, so I'm going to push that up just so you guys can see what a failure looks like in SaturnCI. Anyway, we have the test output, the test report, and then the system logs, which is kind of the really low level, like what the build machine is doing. Each time, each time you do a run in SaturnCI, it creates a new machine instance in the cloud. So, like, if you're familiar with Amazon EC2, it's like it would be a new EC2 instance. I happen to be using DigitalOcean now, so it's a DigitalOcean droplet, but it just instantiates a new machine, and this is the system log. It's there mostly for troubleshooting and such. And here we have a new build running. And this brings us to what we're going to be working on today. Right now, when a build is running, there's nothing. You can't, it's just, you can't see what's going on, which is not great. It'd be great to be able to see your tests running in real time. That's how it works on SaturnCI and GitHub Actions, probably anything else too. So I need to add real-time log streaming. And I want that to be the case for the system logs and for the test output. The test report doesn't apply until the very end. So we'll come back to this in a minute after it fails. This was staging. Here we have localhost. I'm actually going to kill this because I don't want to wastefully run this same commit twice since it's already running on staging. Okay, so I want to figure out how to make the builds stream live, but first, I actually noticed an unrelated defect. Locally, if we go to the test output tab, ooh, here it says nothing here yet, and here it says this, and I have no idea what that's all about. If I go to an older one, oh, weird. Yeah, so this is like really screwed up because if we go on staging, it looks exactly right. Oh, unless we go too far back in history. I think when I changed it, when I changed how it works, some history got lost. And that's fine. But if you look at these last few builds, everything looks perfect. But locally, this newer build failed like this, and this other build failed in the same exact way. So something weird is going on. So I want to always be working from a clean and tidy base. And so I don't want to pile something on top of this problem because then it might make the problem harder to solve later.
Right.
So it says no such file or directory, SaturnCI Docker Compose. Okay, well, the question is, why is it trying to find such a directory? And why can't it find it? Well, maybe we can look at the system logs to get some clues. I'm not immediately seeing anything that shows me anything interesting. So I'll do this. When a run executes, it runs a certain script. Here's the script. It installs Docker, it clones your repo, checks out your commit, builds the Docker image, then it runs your tests. So I'm going to look for these messages in the logs, running tests. Okay. And I can see here it says sending general logs. Oh, and I also see, well, isn't this interesting? No such file or directory, SaturnCI Docker compose.yml. That is very interesting. Oh, and look at this. There's even an error earlier. SaturnCI pre.sh, no such file or directory. And here's another one. Interesting. Home Ubuntu project, no such file or directory. Okay. And it looks like the git clone is not even working. Okay. So this is bad because there was like a silent failure early on and it made later things fail, but it's really unclear what failed. It seems as though the git clone command did not work. Also, my horizontal scroll bar is no longer accessible to me, and I don't know why. It's a little bit annoying. Okay, I'm gonna see if I
Is it
can
a
find.
permissions issue?
That's a good question. Um, I have actually become less concerned with what's wrong and more concerned with the fact that it doesn't tell me what's wrong. One of my principles for this product is that it should be really easy to diagnose your problems. So, okay, unknown switch W, cloning user repo. Okay, let's go to where that is. Cloning, that doesn't say cloning at all. Cloning user repo. Okay. Okay. So I don't know why it would say that, but what it is not doing is it's not it's not outputting this command, which I don't think I actually want it to because it contains this token, although maybe not, that's not that bad because the token expires. Okay. And then we go to the project directory, which is home Ubuntu project, and we create a directory called temp, which failed. I think it has something to do with the fact that there's no such directory as home Ubuntu project, because it seems that the git clone failed. Okay, so my question to myself is, how can we make the git clone fail more noisily? And it shouldn't attempt to continue, it should just exit. Okay. If the git clone fails, I want my script to fail noisily and exit. How can I accomplish this? Hmm. Okay. Okay, I like that idea. Okay. So I'm going to try to deploy this. I found that deploying during Zoom calls is hit or miss, seemingly because of bandwidth. But we'll see if this actually works, then it shouldn't take too long. While we're waiting for this, let's check on this build on staging and see. Yeah, okay, it failed. And so rather than having to dig through multiple screens like you do in GitHub Actions and Saturn and SaturnCI, you can immediately see which test failed. You do still, in the test output, you still have to scroll to find it, which is not ideal, but I intend to change that. What I think would be great is with if when you click on this, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. When you click on that, it immediately takes you here and shows you this. So that's the exact failure I expected. Just wanted to show what it looks like when there's a failure. Okay, so we'll see if this works. Let's occupy ourselves in some way in the meantime. Let's see. If we get this fixed, what are we going to do next? Um, build logs, build log streaming. Yeah, we're going to modify the build script somehow. Man, this is really like annoying that deployment doesn't work that well during Zoom calls because it's kind of a necessary step. I know what I'll do. I'll do this. I'm going to rerun this test run, and then I'm going to go to DigitalOcean. I'm going to go to my droplets. This is the one that I just started. I'm gonna SSH into it. I gotta open my email so I can get the password to it. Okay, maybe it's this one. Maybe it's this one. Okay. Apparently this is going to be really slow too. Oh wait, this is just because the machine is like not ready yet, probably. All right, we'll just wait a minute on that. But here's my thought. I kicked off this build and I'm thinking now that I can SSH into this droplet that just got kicked off with this build. And then I can go modify the script directly on that machine to do the set-e, and then I can rerun the script again directly on that machine. Let's see if this goes a little faster now. Okay, great. Okay. Now I think I want to try to kill the script because it would already be running. I don't want to have it running twice at once. Okay, I believe this is it. So I'll do kill 9512. Okay. I want to copy this. I'm going to do PS again. Grep scripts. Yeah, nothing there. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to first I want to edit this script. Set dash E. Okay. And now I'm gonna run the script. No such file or directory. Oh, yeah, of course. Can I do it like that? Uh-oh. Wow. I don't know what just happened. Okay, no, I don't want to have to do this. Okay. So I'm gonna run this again. Okay, so it says it's installing Docker. That's apparently the step we're at now. Okay, and then it failed and exited. That's good. That's what I wanted. And oddly, it says unknown switch W. I do not know what that means. So I'll do what I usually do when I don't know what something means, which is I'll go to ChatGPT and I'll paste that there. And I will share my script with ChatGPT. What is the unknown switch W? Oops. My sons were making games on my computer earlier today, so that's the window we switched to. Um, by the way, what is this? That's a lot of flesh tone there. What were they making? Okay, anyway. Unknown switch W. Unknown switch W error about.
It's amazing that you don't have to give it much context. I mean, except pasting in the code and the error.
I know. It's so great. Okay. So having said that, ChatGPT does tend to be fairly poor at diagnosing bugs. Um, what I want to know is like in general, what does unknown switch mean? Oh, wait, okay. Command suggests that an unintended character or option is being passed to the command which Git does not recognize. Okay. Okay. Um, let's go back to my terminal. Where the heck is it? Oh, it's this. And I'm gonna open that script again. Okay. And I know that all my secret values are on display for the world, but that's fine. None of these are that sensitive. So I'm going to go down to my git clone. Okay. And I'll do this. I'll do echo all that and just paste that out. By the way, what is all this stuff? I don't know. Okay, so it kind of got stuck. All right, for my troubleshooting purposes, I'm going to kill these and this. Just going to let it go straight to the cloning of the repo. And you know what? I better not do that. I'm going to make a backup copy first. Okay. Now that I've made my backup copy, I can get rid of some of this. And now let's see what happens when we run it. Okay, that was a huge amount of output. Why is it giving us so much output? Does that have something to do with the -E? Let's see what happens when we don't do the -E. Same thing, okay. So instead of actually doing the git clone, I'm just going to echo the git clone and then exit. Interesting. Okay, I thought I was exiting, but maybe I wasn't. I'm just going to delete everything afterward. And I'm going to delete all this stuff. API request command not found. Oh no. Okay, well, that's why I made a backup. Sorry, I'm used to my custom Vim key bindings and I don't know how to get around. Okay, GT. I also am still not used to Dvorak. Okay. I want to put that here. Okay. Let's see if I'm able to run that. Okay, it's still like actually cloned it. I'm going to do that and pipe it through less so I can actually see what's happening. Okay. It attempted the git clone and then I get action controller exception caught. in the GitHub tokens controller create. Okay. Oh, if I'm getting an error, can I see it in my Rails log? Yeah, okay. Great. No implicit conversion of nil into string. Okay, GitHub token line 14. All right, let's check that out. App model, GitHub token line 14. Oh, private PEM. Okay, GitHub private PEM. Private PEM. Oh, my local private PEM must be missing. And that failed silently. Okay. I think I want it to not fail silently. So I can say raise private PEM missing unless private PEM dot present. Okay. Let's see. Now, if I try to rerun a build, will it fail? It did not fail. Okay, that's not good. Okay, I think maybe I want to add a test for this. Um, but first, let me even confirm my suspicion of what's going on. So if I try to rerun a test, does it even hit that line? I don't know that it does. Okay. Um, I'm getting a little bit lost. Let me ground myself again. Okay. So I think I allowed myself to get confused. I know I did. When I run this script, it appears to be cloning the repo, which is super weird because I'm not cloning a repo. Okay, let's do this. Let's comment out those two lines. Now, the only thing that should happen is we see echo cloning user repo. Yeah, okay. Now we uncomment this token line. That might have been what we were seeing actually. Yeah. Oh, okay. I was confused because it said like cloning user repo and then it was doing this stuff. It created the illusion that a repo was being cloned. Really, it was just getting this token. Okay. And then we echo that command. And that's so interesting. When we just echo the command, it like goes all crazy on us. What if I just echo this much? Whoops. Still goes crazy. What if I just echo the words git clone? Okay, that's fine. What if I echo that much? That's fine too. What if I echo everything up to the token? Now things get weird. Okay. What if I echo the tokens separately? Whoa, that's a long token. Or it's,
I
I
think
don't know
it's
what's going
your
on.
error screen again from Rails.
Yeah. Why would that only happen when I echo the token? That's weird. Oh no, but okay,
That's your
I see.
response
Yeah, yeah,
payload.
yeah. Okay. Okay. So I want it to fail more noisily if this API request fails. Hmm. I want it to fail more noisily if this API request fails. So, okay. So what I just did failed, but I didn't know about it because it didn't fail noisily. Even though we do set dash E, but it's maybe a different kind of failure than what set dash E uh, knows how to do anything with.
I assume you're getting like a 500 back from the API. And if the request can be handled, it's not a failure as far as bash is concerned.
Yeah.
So you need to check what response code you're getting back from curl.
All right. So I'm gonna say, I don't think that pasted anything real. Oh yeah, I can't. Yeah, okay. Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna copy all of this and say if API request gets anything but a 200, it should raise an error and exit the script. Curl dash F. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay. Well, that's good. Um, Now let's restore from backup. Okay. And let's only change this to that. And why not change this too? I'll have to deduplicate these two functions at some point. I'm gonna run it just to see what happens. Ha! Okay, it immediately errored out. But that's good. Um, because if it's gonna fail, it should fail noisily. And just out of curiosity, how did that one fail? Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay. Um, by the way, did our deployment succeed? It looks like it did. But by now we know that we need to do something a little different. So we just want to change curl from -u to -f-u. Okay, and now I'll deploy this. and we'll wait about a bazillion years until that finishes. In the meantime, I will commit this. Change API requests in script to fail more loudly. Okay. And while that's doing its thing, maybe we can look into the actual error. So it said duplicate key violates unique constraint, index, blah, 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 build ID type. Okay, I understand what build ID is, but not type. So let's take a look at that. Build events. Oh, we have multiple, I see, we have multiple events for the same build. Okay. Okay. So that's not too surprising because we like ran that script multiple times. I'm just going to take that build and delete all its build events. Oh, wait. Destroy all. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to run this again, and it might not fail so immediately this time. Yeah. So in case it wasn't obvious, um, it was failing because it was sending this build machine ready event, but that was like the second time it had sent that. And so it was failing on a unique constraint. Okay, the requested URL. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
had a question. So, you had the rerun mechanism in the UI I saw.
Yeah,
What is the difference between manually running the script and rerunning the script?
good question. When you rerun it through the UI, it creates a new build. And when I've been doing it this way, it's just the same build.
Gotcha.
Okay, so now it returned to 500. Yep, and it's the same token stuff again. Um, no implicit conversion of nil into string. And that, of course, seems to imply that private pem is nil. Oh yeah, and when I when I put a binding.pry here, probably failed because we had those build events. I'm just gonna do this. Build events dot destroy all. Okay. Now I'm gonna run this again. Oh, I think the machine died. I can't do anything. Okay, well that's inconvenient, but not a huge deal. We can get it going again. Okay. So let me just look real quick. Did it die? It's the one that starts with FE28. Okay, I don't think it died. I don't know why everything froze up for me. Oh, did I close the window? Apparently so. Okay. Um, let's go back into it. This doesn't seem normal. Maybe something did in fact go wrong. I don't know what. All right, so I'm gonna kill this one. This is taking a long time. I don't know why. I'm gonna do this a different way. I'm gonna delete the build, which should delete the build machine. Okay. Now, GitHub token dot token failed. Maybe we don't care why it failed. We only care that it failed. Okay, but where does this even get called? Anywhere we get an OctaKit client. Okay. Which happens like, well, maybe not a lot. Okay, where else? Okay, GitHub token.generate. I see. Okay. Yeah, this is probably where it's getting called from. It's running on my local machine. Okay. In GitHub private PEM, let's see if this is set. And I'm guessing that it's not. If it is, it'll be weird. Yeah, it's not. Well, that explains it. But I don't want to just know what's wrong. I want to prevent such a failure in the future because I don't like having such a mysterious failure. Oh, gonna rerun this. I don't like having that mysterious failure. So I want to make it so it fails noisily if there's no GitHub private PEM. I'm going to try this again. I guess it would take a bit. Oh, wait. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's going to hit that error when the build machine hits the API endpoint that tries to make a token. And so even if this gets hit, we're not going to know about it until we're not going to know about it until we look at the system logs and we see an error, if there even is an error. Yeah. Okay. So it's going to be a while before we see that. Okay, let's do this. Let's go into that droplet. Okay, and then let's tail the system logs. Var log syslog. Okay. Where are we at? Okay, so it's doing it's past it's past that point where it would have failed. Okay, so we see the logs here. There's a lot of logs. It doesn't look like it failed quickly. This deployment is not done yet, so that's not surprising that it didn't fail quickly. Okay, so build machine ready. That API request was successful. And then getting the token, wherever that happens. Okay, the requested URL returned error 500. Yes. Okay, and that is because our PEM is missing. But how the heck would anybody realize that based on this? That is so cryptic. It shouldn't return a 500. It should return an informative error. But what should that informative error be? It should be something that says something about not being able to create a GitHub token, I think. And maybe because of maybe it should say that it's because of the private PEM being missing, or maybe not. But certainly just a 500 error is no good. Hmm. Okay. By the way, I'm going to rerun this because our deploy did in fact finish. Okay. We don't want a 500. We want what? And did we get a raw error at some point? Good luck finding that in here. I don't even care that much. Um, okay, so an error raised here is just going to get buried. It's almost useless. Um, but how can we? I know, I know. I think we can do something like this. Something like this. Missing GitHub private PEM error. I'm going to say private key. Oops. Okay. And then we can have that bubble up. Yeah. Okay, but I want to have a test for this. All right. See you later, helmet. All right, just you and me, Mike. I think I'm gonna call it a day in a few minutes, but I wanna I wanna give myself a clue when I start back up what I should be working on. Okay, so I want to write a test, I think, that says if the private PEM is missing, then we fail gracefully somehow. Yeah, okay. Okay, so let's do this. Spec GitHub token spec. Okay, I'll say context GitHub private key is missing. It fails gracefully. Okay. So in this case, we can, well, we can stub this private PEM value. Oh no, we don't even want to be hitting all this stuff anyway. We can stub the token method and have it raise a missing GitHub private key error. Stub the token method and make it raise a missing GitHub private key error. Okay, so I'm going to show this to ChatGPT. Replace my comments with code.
So would the idea be that the test would fail and the tests are failing as like a first class citizen of the CI? So it's very apparent.
Um, the idea would be, that's a good question. So I'm going to work backwards. When you try to generate a token, it would raise an error. And because that happened, the API would return not a 200 response, but something other than a 200. I'm not sure what's most appropriate. And because that happened, the build machine would see that it's not a 200 and it would stop right there and say, "Hey, we didn't get a 200 response. Here's the response we did get." And it would say, missing private key. Um, and your build would fail. And because your build failed, you would say, "Hey, my build failed. What's going on with my build?" Then you would look at the system logs and you would see the thing that says your private key is missing. I think that's how that would go.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so to say that a different way, from the user's perspective, um, your build would fail and you'd see that private key error. So the cause of the failure would be very easy to trace. Okay, so This is not what I want at all. No, it should stub the token method. Because the reason it should stub the token method is because this involves like network requests and stuff, and I don't want to let it make network requests. That doesn't make sense. I want to stub that whole thing. Okay, GitHub token missing GitHub private key error. I don't know why I put it in this GitHub token namespace. I don't think I'm a fan of that. Okay. And no, we don't want to expect it to raise an error. We want to perform the post and then expect something in the body, something along the lines of like missing GitHub private key. Yeah. And if I run this, it'll obviously fail. Okay, first it says it doesn't know anything about that error, which makes sense. And where was it suggesting that I put that? I saw, there we go. In the GitHub token class. Okay. Oh, and that explains I thought that was a namespace. It was a class name. GitHub token. Yeah, let's see what this is. Installation ID is missing in GitHub token. Yeah, okay. So maybe we don't want to actually stub token, we want to stub generate. Oh yeah, and that's what I'm stubbing in the other method. Okay. Okay. So, oh, we need to catch the error. Make it so this controller catches the error. Actually, I know how to do this. Begin. Wait. Rescue. Yeah. Rescue GitHub token missing blah blah blah. Um, Render plain missing GitHub private key. Okay, let's see what we get. Okay. And then of course I do want to have this raise. No great way to test that specifically. Um, we want to give something other than a 200 response. Yeah. Add another test case that says when the key is missing, it should return something other than a 200 response. I don't know which response code would be most appropriate, though. A 500 is appropriate? Okay.
Yeah, I would think like a 403. If it's, I guess it depends. Like,
Yeah, 500 doesn't seem appropriate because to me, a 500 is like, we fucked up. Like something went horribly wrong. We just like did something. It doesn't seem right.
so I
Let's
guess
say
if
403.
it was the token is missing, I would say a 4 or 500 would be all right. Like, if it's an unauthorized thing, then a
Okay.
403 would be right. But I don't know if that's splitting hairs.
Well, maybe a 500 is okay. And also maybe it doesn't really matter that much because it's like such a fine detail. Okay, fails gracefully. It returns a 500 and we want to stub that thing in both cases. And we want to make the post in both cases. I think I prefer expect response dot status to equal 500. Okay. Status 500. Can we do that? Apparently so. Okay. Well, that actually wasn't too terribly difficult. All right, I'm going to create a new branch. Graceful missing GitHub key. Graceful missing GitHub key failure. Make it so missing GitHub key gets handled more gracefully. Okay, let's see. This will need to be, no, it won't need to be deployed because when we run the test locally, it's just the callbacks are hitting, the webhooks are hitting ngrok. It's hitting my local server through ngrok. So we can push that. And my expectation will be, well, say it got a 500, but I don't know if it's going to get the response body. I'm going to say this. If curl.f-u gets a 500, will it output the response body? It will not. Okay. Well, what if I don't want to capture it? I just want to immediately output it. Interesting. Well, this looks like kind of complicated. Um, and here's a thought. Maybe, who's the audience for this error? It's just me. Like, this is only going to happen locally, I think. Um, and even if it happens in production, like, I'm still the audience because this isn't like a user-facing error. This is just for me. Oh, and I just saw a 500.
That's the only bad thing about the 500 is now you're interpreting a 500 as a missing GitHub token, but if you have any failures underneath that, they're going to be 500 and it's going to be masked.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of dumb. Um, okay, well, screw it. Maybe the answer is that we don't catch it. Um, and it was easy enough to figure out what was wrong based on line 14 failing. So maybe the answer to this is that we just don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I feel kind of dumb for going to all that effort to do the thing I just did that I decided that now I don't want to do. But I'll pat myself on the back for not being susceptible to the sunk cost fallacy and keeping it just because I spent time on it.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, next steps for me, I need to repopulate my GitHub private PEM. And then I can finally get started on the thing that I wanted to start at the beginning of this session, which was the real-time build streaming. But that'll have to get bumped to the next session. All right. Well, thanks, Mike, for joining me, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah, take it easy.
See ya.